My ideal gaming space is comfortable, stylish, and keeps me competitive no matter what I'm playing. The PowerA Spectra-enhanced wide controller for the Nintendo Switch ticks all the boxes. Officially licensed by Nintendo, it is an epic upgrade for your Switch, here to illuminate your gameplay these Easter holidays. There's tons of cool features in the Spectra-enhanced controller, all for a great price. Light up your space with 8 programmable LED colors, boost your advantage with 2 mappable buttons, reduce latency with a 3-meter snap-lock cable, and plug in your headset with an inbuilt headphone jack. And you have more control than ever with precision-tuned analog thumbsticks with smooth anti-friction rings. Illuminate your gameplay these Easter holidays with the Spectra-enhanced wide controller for the Nintendo Switch, available at your local JB Hi-Fi store or online at jbhifi.com.au. Hello and welcome to the Press Start podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ewan, hopefully with proper audio today, joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, Brody.
Hello.
Kieran.
Hello.
James.
Hello.
And Shannon.
Hello.
On the show today, we're going to be talking about a rumoured PlayStation handheld, EA's soccer game post-FIFA, the reason behind AFL 23's delay, and reviews of Ghostwire Tokyo, A Spider's Thread, and Tron Identity. But first, Mario has had the biggest animated debut of all time. Tipped to rake in 368 million USD worldwide by the 5-day mark. It comes in above Frozen 2, the previous record holder. Quick straw poll. Who's all seen Mario now? Have we all been to the cinema to go and see it?
Yes.
Yes.
All of you. I'm the only one not to have gone and seen
wow.
Mario over the Easter long weekend. Yeah, terrible. I haven't actually been to the cinema in a while. I need to get out and see a few things. Shannon, maybe first to you, because I don't know if we heard your thoughts on Mario. You weren't on the show last week, were you? Already feels like a lifetime ago. How did you find Mario, firstly? Did you enjoy it?
It was an enjoyable experience. It was like nostalgic and really cool to see Mario on the big screen. I think if you start thinking about it too much, like obviously it's not the best movie to exist or even anywhere near like the best animated movie to exist. But I think in terms of like what this is and Nintendo on the big screen, like it could have been a lot worse, I think.
It seems like there's a line between like film critics and Mario fans, right? Well, like kind of if you're there to criticize the film as a film, like you go on one side, and
if you criticize any Mario story in like any of the game, like it's non-existent essentially, right? So like,
sure.
And it's similar here. Like there's not much to go off. I think that, the critics are probably thinking about it too much, but that's their job, right? Like you have to actually break it down narratively.
I also think like with a movie, like let's just say like Odyssey's story is basically the same.
Yeah.
But you have like this fantastic game behind that. But obviously with a film, it's the opposite. You've just got a plot. So obviously if that's kind of lacking, people will notice it. And I get that. But then like, I don't know. I think I was smiling the whole time. I don't ever smile. Like I just the whole.
We should just play it in the background every podcast.
Yeah, like I mean, I don't know if I would smile if I watched it again, but like it was just like even like that opening scene where they're like running down the street together. It switches to that side-on view and that kind of stuff, and they're like.
I feel like Mario's strength isn't so much its story as its characters. And as someone who's not seen the film, like assuming you give them moments to shine, like I feel like
you say the strength is the characters, but it's not like people aren't like into like the characters for their personalities. I don't. It's. Do you know what I mean? Like it's.
I feel like people have a good idea what the personalities of those characters are, though. Like it's just been injected into them. Like
it's just nostalgia. I
decades.
think it is like it did feel nostalgic in like a, not that that's a bad thing. Like it was. Yeah, it was like smiling and feeling giddy the whole time you're watching it,
and that's fine. Like I don't know. I was like. But then, I just saw Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and that's like
Great film.
Like, yeah, like I'm not even just being I'm not being funny or anything. It's one of the best fucking movies I've ever seen. Like the plot, the way that it does its characters, and all of the stuff that it's commenting on underneath is genuinely fantastic. So
I laugh because you were going off in the group chat having watched it, echoing much of the same sentiment.
Yeah,
like. I know people that have seen Mario 4 times, and it's like I just feel like that it's not that good to the point that I would run back
to me.
and see
Like
it.
what? Like I mean, besides, I mean, I think there's a Pikmin reference visually. Like I'd like to watch that maybe, but I wouldn't pay $20-something to watch that again. I'd probably wait, but but then it is really good. I really liked it. I thought it was like I can see why there's a divide for sure. But I also think people need to chill with trying to like rationalize why it's good.
Yeah.
Because like it is simple. Like let's not pretend it isn't. Like
Brody,
you know what I mean?
we were eager
Like,
for your opinion last week because we're curious on like the parents' perspective. Like, do you see how Mario has managed to surpass something as anticipated as Frozen 2 was, given how popular the original Frozen was?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, like, it's obviously got that big brand recognition, and you've got people like me who, you know, I'm dragging my son to see it, obviously, but I'm also going to see it for myself because I do have that, 30 years of nostalgia for Mario, basically. So,
It seems like a good way to introduce Mario to like the next generation, right?
Yeah, I think so. Well, especially when they're like, obviously Eddie's a bit young to, pick up a controller and play the games, but he obviously loves movies, like he loves Pixar and DreamWorks and all that sort of shit. So, yeah, I mean, it's easy to see how it has gone gangbusters in the first few days, and I'm sure it will continue to do so. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it. I liked it a lot. There's a few moments that have no right to be as fucking hype as they are. Like, man, so good. I want to go and watch it.
Do you
want
to touch on one? Like, I can't say I'm particularly concerned about spoilers. Is there a way you can reference one without spoiling it for people?
Not really. Like, the point I'm talking about is, like, right in, like, the end fight. If you've seen it, you probably know what I'm talking about. Like, there's a moment in Sonic 1 that's basically the same thing. So, yeah, hype as shit. I'm all about it.
I love it. Well, the original song in the film, Peaches, is eligible for an Oscar. And, Kieran, of course, I'm coming to you with the question.
How did you say eligible then?
Eligible?
is
like
it
it can't-
Illegible.
You can't
it's
read it at the
allowed.
Oscars?
No, I'm
Wait.
adding an sound to the front of it. Illegible.
Anyway, sorry.
Eligible.
Eligible.
It's
It's eligible.
Eligible.
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like this is a British
Illegible.
versus Australian thing, but that's okay. Kieran,
Sorry.
Peaches, is it a banger? Should it win an Oscar?
I don't know if it should win an Oscar. It's
Don't
one
know
of my
if it's a banger.
it was like it was one of my favorite, like, I guess, kind of moments in the film, without saying too much about it for anyone who hasn't seen it. But like, they had Jack Black and they got him to sing, so I was happy with that.
To me, I really liked that moment, and it was probably one of the funnier parts of the movie, like one of the parts that actually made me laugh. But it did feel a little bit out of place in the sense that, like, there weren't really any other, like, original songs throughout it. Like, they went for real mainstream songs that didn't really fit into Mario parts. So I don't know, that felt a little bit. I think they said they only came up with that concept like 3 ways through all the voice recording. So I don't think it was originally planned to happen, but it was definitely funny.
Yeah.
It sounds like the kind of thing that Jack Black might just kind of improv, and then they kind of go, you know what, this is so
definitely.
funny, let's work on it
Nobody else
somehow.
could have pulled that off.
No, agree.
No.
Yeah, and I don't think it would have even happened if it wasn't anyone
I
else,
actually
so.
think Jack Black and Bowser, like, were the movie as well. Like, they were, like, the standout for me.
Definitely.
Kieran, you've seen it twice now. Do you feel like it's deserving of all the success?
Yeah, I think that the success was a given, but I think that they, like, all the decisions they made along the way seemed like the right decisions, aside from maybe the licensed music use, which felt out of place in a lot of places. But
It
everything else
surprises me
about
to
it,
hear you
like,
say that, because I've heard such good things about the soundtrack up until now.
the soundtrack,
the
the original
score is
score
good.
is good.
So when they use
so
like
it's
the
just
music
their
from the
choice
games
of, like,
and remix
commercial
that
tracks.
into it,
That's really good. Yeah.
that's good. Then
Right.
like that the Kill Bill song is at the beginning for a little bit. Can't remember what it's called. And then I think No Sleep for Brooklyn is at the beginning.
But like,
like,
that,
I don't-
that felt appropriate.
See, that feels
Even like,
appropriate.
isn't like Thunderstruck in it?
Yeah,
Back in Black.
and I get what they're doing there too, but like it definitely, like, it's super safe. It's like everyone who's like, I love Guardians of the Galaxy soundtrack, but it's like this just like shitty curated like 80s.
Yeah, the
Hits.
80s classic.
They have a song
Do you
from
know what I mean?
Guardians
Like-
too.
Yeah, like
Like-
it's I get why they did it, because the game music, you couldn't really, I can't think of what you could put in those bits to have the same effect.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, I don't know. I thought that would be worse because everybody's going on about that. But I feel like each song goes for like 10 seconds. So it's like not as bad
Yeah.
as I
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah. Kind of classic Hollywood stuff, really. I better hurry to go and see it before it leaves cinemas.
Hopefully faster than you said that sentence.
What a
Because
segue.
if I don't, it might take a while to come to streaming services, but maybe not as long as the PlayStation Handheld might take to materialize. That was really thought of on the fly.
dear.
After
Really?
murmurs, after murmurs bubbled up online, Insider Gaming has weighed in on rumors of a new handheld PlayStation device, saying it will resemble a DualSense controller with an 8-inch screen in the center and even include features like adaptive triggers. Rather than run games itself, it is reported to play games via PlayStation's Remote Play to a PS5 console, instead streaming the game via an internet connection up to 1080p 60 FPS. Shannon, I might come to you as the PlayStation expert. For those unfamiliar with Remote Play, how might this work exactly? Like, what would you need to still be in your home for this streaming to work? Would you need to be able to power on your PlayStation 5? Break it down for us.
Yeah, that's the tough thing. I haven't really used Remote Play like since like the Vita days. I would say maybe once or twice on my mobile, but I think it'd locally stream in your house and use like an internet connection or like a hotspot outside of your house. But I think for this to work, it'd have to be a little bit better than that and a bit more seamless. Like I don't think that's quite gonna cut it. And like when you can remote play on any mobile device, I don't really get the point. But that's how I think it would work. It'd just pull from your PlayStation 5 console in a similar way to like the Wii U would with the handset like the controller. That's how I would want it to work, and I think it could still be like Remote Play but like a lower latency version of it.
And so long as your console is in rest mode, right, you can power it on remotely. Like if you like currently with the phone app, you can download games to it. Say you're out at work, you download a game that morning so it's ready to play in the afternoon. But that all works via kind of the standby rest mode state, right? Yeah. I haven't tried Remote Play like outside of the house, but I have experimented with it on my phone just fine. But presumably like on a 5G connection, like that's still kind of fast enough to hold up. Like I've done the Xbox game streaming just fine before outside of the house.
I think with the current version of Remote Play, you can only do it on Wi-Fi, even if you're outside. I don't think it actually allows you to do it over a 4G or 5G connection. Yeah, so I don't know if that changes, but yeah.
Well, Kieran, like, do you believe these rumors to be true? And if so, like, do you see much of a need for this in your life?
No, they sound, I don't know, they sound plausible, I guess. I don't think it's something I would personally use, but it feels like something they'd position more as an add-on to the PS5 rather than like a standalone, like a new PlayStation handheld kind of thing. Like, you know, sort of position it alongside like the backbone and all those other sort of mobile streaming controllers, but one that has its own screen as well. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's too early and too late for it at the same time.
Yeah, I have like tried playing games on my phone, whether it be like Xbox game streaming or Remote Play, and I've just kind of found it a bit of a cumbersome experience. Like, admittedly, I haven't got like the PlayStation backbone, which I think kind of works with Remote Play a lot better. Like the Xbox controller I've got at the moment just doesn't seem to work with it at all. And I think once I've like connected my DualSense to my iPad and played it that way, but it's not a particularly comfortable experience. Like I'd much more prefer to pick up my Switch and play something on there if I was so inclined.
I think that's the market they're going for though.
Yeah.
Like the person that wants to play their thing like in bed and you're never going to do it on your phone because that's going to require you to get like a backbone or attach something to it. Where if you just had like a Switch-esque type
A
device that
dedicated
wasn't
thing.
Yeah, that you just turn on and it just pulls in whatever you're playing on your PlayStation and you can jump straight in.
I don't know if it's got the build quality of like a PlayStation device and like adaptive triggers and,
like
stuff.
a bigger
that
screen
sounds
and better
good.
battery and all that as well.
Yeah,
there's
and I do
definitely
like having a
advantages.
dedicated thing because like my phone I'm using for social media and stuff throughout the day. Like I need that battery life for other things.
I just think they're going to
Precious
have
as that
to
might
move.
sound.
They have to move into that space because Xbox are clearly going all the way into cloud, and the Switch obviously is already like in that space. So I do feel like PlayStation have to play in that space and at least test. And if it's just an extension of the PS5, I think that's totally fine and justified without needing to build extra software or do anything like that.
I might come back to that in a moment, but Brody, you've picked up a Steam Deck recently. Does something like this kind of can you see it playing a role in your life? Are you pretty comfortable with the handheld devices you have currently?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy. Specifically with this, like if it is strictly remote play, like you have said, and I think with PlayStation, I think they place such a premium at the minute on their design and form factor and stuff that I think this thing might actually be like prohibitively expensive, maybe for what it is and for what it does. Yeah. So I think that alone would probably, say I didn't have a Steam Deck, I think that would probably steer me away, and I'd still probably go more towards the backbone and stuff like that. Like get a slightly bigger phone and then just you got a backbone. So no, probably not for me.
Yeah, Logitech put out something that was like a cloud streaming exclusive device recently that was still rather expensive. Like I think a few $100, and it's hard to imagine you see something like that come out, not perform well, and release something yourself.
I just think
particularly
PlayStation
with like
people will
VR. Well, no, that's what I'm saying though. Like VR hasn't done tremendously
but that's
well.
like it's like 1,000. Like it's not going to be it might be. It's just different. I don't know. I think people that want an extension, it's going to be expensive. Like that's just the world we live in.
If this is $400, it's only like a couple hundred shy of the cost of a PS5 console. Like,
but I don't think
which you also
it's
have
not going
to
to
have.
replace a PS5. Like I don't think that's the idea. I think it's for someone who just might want to play it in another room or might be traveling and want to play it.
I'd be curious to see how
that
the
way.
DualSense Edge was selling as well. Like that's the kind of $300 peripheral essentially for the PS5, like which is what I suppose this would be if it requires you to have a PS5. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm very trepidatious about this. Would I get one? Maybe, but I think it would require like I would have to be able to play my PS5 games outside of the house for that to be justified. James, I see you though thinking deeply about all this, ruminating on it.
Just
if you
listening
will.
to Shannon talk about it. It's so interesting.
I'm
It is.
curious.
Well,
like,
it's
go.
No,
What was your question?
It's
Ewan?
not for James who's going to spend. James already spends enough time in front of his TV, like playing games. He's clearly sorted. It's fine for him. Like he doesn't need this. Where me, I never.
What's this? Like this
I
is
never
life,
like.
sitting
I'm
there
just
telling you
thinking
about
of
playing
me.
my
Like
game.
I never get the TV
Okay.
until like 11 p.m. and that's why I don't play games. But like I'll jump on my Switch. But there's nothing I want to play on Switch ever. So I just feel like if I could jump on whatever I'm playing on PlayStation, then I would
Notably,
play more
though,
games.
a lot of like AAA games on the Switch do require you to stream the game, though. So
It's not even an option. But it's just not. I would if you could, but you can't.
okay, I don't feel like we need to shape this as like a Switch v fictional PlayStation.
Yeah, I don't know why.
handheld
Who was
debate.
talking about Nintendo?
What do you? I'm just saying I want to. I play my Switch all the time when there's games to play. But what am I playing on the Switch today? Advance Wars?
Anyway,
James,
I think. What's your question, Ewan?
I was
Give
going to
me a
ask you
question.
to. I
Bring some
thought you might
structure
have
to
some
this.
thoughts on the strategy, all this, the rationale behind it. What's
I
your
don't really
opinion?
understand any of it. But no, that's a lie. I feel like it feels like a waste of resources, but surprisingly, like when I was playing Dredge last week, someone bought me a one of the Nacon things for your phone for the Xbox, so the Raid
Oh, yeah.
MGX or something.
Yeah.
And that's been pretty good because that game is like chill, like, and it works, like it's slower. Do you know what I mean? Like it works perfect. So I do understand the appeal. I've always said that about, like, say, Steam Deck. I would find that appealing if I could sync it with my other consoles or something. Like, I'm not a PC player. So I can definitely, like, see the appeal. I just find it, like, a little bit like shit that, like, it's for what it is. Like, it's so expensive. Well, we don't know if it will be, how much it is, I should say. But you can, like, it's not going to be cheap. Given how much the DualSense Edge is for what it does, it's not going to be cheap. Like, they have a different pricing strategy.
I mean, like, even a DualSense itself, right? Like, is it $110
compared to, say, like
thing?
that with a mount for your phone, as an example. I mean,
yeah,
I
exactly.
still, like, I'm more with you, and, like, I see the appeal of keeping battery life, like, usage low during the day or whatever for work and social media. But, like, yeah, just it being useless outside of the house is like just stupid to me. Like if because that will be a nice screen and it will have, you know, the DualSense haptics and stuff, assumedly, right? Is that what?
Yeah.
Am I reading that
I'm
right?
kind of shocked that Remote Play doesn't currently work outside the house. I kind of always assumed it did. I just never.
It would have to, because it wouldn't know that you're connecting via hotspot. Like it'd just be.
No,
it probably doesn't
hotspot
work
it.
well.
Heaps of things do. Your phone tells apps
Like-
if it's like Wi-Fi. Or
You would
it
have to
warns
be
you
on the
all
same
the time.
network, I suppose. Yeah, it would like.
I don't think it can even find your PlayStation if it's not on the same network. I know I've only ever done it. I've done it once to grind Mortal Kombat skins, and it worked fine. But I couldn't do that outside of
That was a hot sentence.
yeah, well,
Grind some skins.
it was a time. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems stupid to me. But
It's
stranger things have happened.
You
It
hear
might be
that,
worth
Jim?
mentioning.
You hear that, Jim Ryan?
Yeah,
James is coming for you.
yeah. Well,
It might be worth mentioning that this is rumored to land between the redesigned PS5 with the detachable disc drive, which we spoke about a little while ago, you might recall, and an eventual PS5 Pro model, which I suppose are kind of notable pieces of information in of itself. But it certainly was the handheld PlayStation that was kind of attracting the majority of the discussion this week. I would have much more interest in, I think, this redesigned PS5 with a detachable disc drive at this stage. Just because, like, if that's presumably a smaller, cheaper, lighter sort of thing that could be a digital-only sort of unit that you chuck in your bag to take with you on holiday somewhere, or like maybe it goes into another room in your house, like that seems like a more useful device to me than a streaming handheld device. And I can't say I'm like wanting enough from like more from my games to justify the purchase of a PS5 Pro at this stage. But maybe the games in the year to come will tell me otherwise. All right, have we all said our piece on that piece of news? We all done? Shall I try
Absolutely.
and
I feel
force
like
a
it's time to-
segue over to EA Sports
Yeah,
FC?
I think remote play can be used with mobile data. That's the only thing I think is worth clarifying. I don't know where that came from. Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel like that stay in the game away from home is the tagline. So
Interesting.
there you go.
It's interesting. I was actually just
Move on.
testing that, like, as I was waffling. And I did get a prompt your home network will be used for remote play, but maybe it's trying to turn on my Wi-Fi and I can...
I think we should need to move on this on.
We can
now.
double this as a YouTube
Agree.
guide on
Yui.
how to...
Yeah.
Move
All right.
on.
Let's talk about EA Sports FC. In the week, EA revealed the branding for its soccer games in the post-FIFA era. The agreement with FIFA is no more, and whilst partnerships with with Premier League, La Liga, and Bundesliga will continue, the game will now bear the name EA Sports FC. Shannon, I might come to you with this first question. What do you make of the new branding and the new logo that adapts the triangle that would appear above the selected player in the game?
Firstly, what a great game to play on the new PlayStation Cloud. Yeah, it's not great. It didn't look... It's I don't know. It's hard coming from FIFA, which is like one of the most iconic brands in entertainment, like in sport, but also like entertainment. But I don't feel like this is a worthy competitor to that. It just doesn't even look that clear as a logo, to be honest.
Brody, do you expect this to kind of change the game in any meaningful way? Do you kind of expect like annual releases in the same way we're accustomed to with FIFA? Will this just be EA Sports FC 24, 25, 26, so on?
Look, I think it has potential to be. Obviously, it all depends on how this first one will do, I suppose. Obviously, it's going to miss that brand recognition of FIFA. Like Shannon says,
Yeah.
it's the greatest brand in the history of entertainment. So, yeah, look.
Really just want to argue with anything Shannon says tonight. Remote play, home Wi-Fi, like what else?
But look, as far as like the logo and stuff goes, it doesn't do a lot for me. Plastering EA Sports up there. Like I know EA Sports has always been FIFA, but and I'm sure the game will be much the same. Like not much is going to change. Like it's going to be the FIFA just with a different name. But I don't know. It just hits different.
Personally, I can't see this changing anything. Like this is just gonna be like the same game every year, like as we know it, with the packs and everything. Like
I almost fell asleep when you said Bundesliga, I'll be honest.
I think this is them just realizing, we don't need to pay like a certain percentage of the revenue we make every year to FIFA anymore. Like people know to come to EA. Like
does that? Admittedly, I don't know enough about this. Does that mean like licensed players and all that sort of stuff is not going to be a thing now? Like, is it going to be like when you used to play like cricket 2002 and it was like Shane Warne or Shane Warren? And it was like Justin Longer.
All of those agreements probably exist outside of the agreement with FIFA, and like the agreement with the leagues are all unique
maybe the
as
World
well.
Cup might be different. That
yeah,
might be
national teams might be different.
Okay.
But I think player likeness and everything, I could be wrong, but I think that's all still to say the same. Certainly jump in if you feel otherwise.
Do you reckon Pro Evo's licking their lips?
Well, that was very much going to be my question.
Football now. Thank you very much.
That's how you do a segue, Big Yui.
Yeah, thank you. Setting me up to spike it over to Kieran. Kieran, does the FIFA license go elsewhere? And is anyone else capable of making a soccer game that can rival EA's?
I am the worst person to ask this question because I don't know anything about.
They should give it to
sports
Blue
games.
Team.
But
Layers of FIFA.
That was good.
Oh my god.
Layers of
That wasn't bad.
Thank you.
No, I don't know what FIFA are going to do with this license. I kind of see this as having gone really badly for them.
They just need to
be
put
honest.
Posh Spice's husband back into it, and then everything will get better.
Do you mean David Beckham?
Since then.
Oh my god.
Mr. Victoria Beckham, yes.
I reckon they're gonna end up folding, and like it'll just become a part of this game, like some kind of FIFA mode, or like the teams will be FIFA licensed or something like that.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way they can compete.
Maybe they'll try and do like a World Cup sort of game or something, or
Well, they used to do that.
like add DLC to the. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but there's no way they're going to be able to compete with this.
No. Well done, EA. I think really kind of forced them into a corner here. Well, clearly, I think that's all we have to say on the matter. So I'll segue over to another sports game, and that is AFL 23, which has been delayed in the week. It is a minor delay from April 13th to May 4th, but comes soon after the release date was revealed. The reason was reported to be a delay in stock of the physical Xbox copies of the game. Kieran, I'll come to you first. How unique are the circumstances of a game like AFL 23 and kind of serving very much like one market and like not even the whole country, given that some states like don't watch AFL or care for it in the same way as others?
Yeah, I feel like again, like I don't really follow the sport, but obviously the game's got a pretty strong following here. And we had the little launch party and stuff at Fortress Melbourne not long ago. So it's very like it's extremely local, and I think like the Australian market's still very physical as well. I think people are still quite averse to digital, so I can see why they wanted to give people that parity for the physical and digital releases. But it's a weird one.
Yeah, Shannon, do you think it's fair to delay the overall release given the delay in availability of just one platform?
Granted, like I don't really know the nuances of like publisher relationships with like manufacturers and stuff, but I don't understand it. No, because I feel like just drop it digitally, and like these games always break street date anyway, so I feel like there's not really a care for dates and things as much. But yeah, I can't really understand why this is happening, given I would assume PlayStation is like really dominant here in Australia for an AFL game as well. It's a weird one. I kind of think that there must be another reason for it, or like partly.
I don't know if I agree, to be honest.
What if an update isn't ready? Is that
Yeah,
a
that's
thing?
what I
Could that
mean.
be
I think like they're happy that they've got an extra 3 weeks for it.
And this was like a nice thing to sort of blame otherwise.
I think they would have dropped it if I don't know. I don't know. It just makes no sense given they're literally waiting to be sold on PlayStation consoles in stores.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like I like you. I don't know how the kind of physical distribution of games really exists. Like how that works. Sorry, like I don't quite know like what sort of competition there might be between different games and different publishers to like go to the factory and get discs printed and all that. But like I've had pre-orders on vinyl records that have been delayed because the factory is busy printing 500,000 copies of Adele's latest record or that kind of thing, and they've decided to delay the release of the whole album because the release of the vinyl was they saw like as an integral part of the release of the music. So I kind of see how like this would be a valid reason for them and the kind of equity in it as well. And the fact that is a delay, like just a month delay seems to me, it's like, okay, that could very much be a logistical thing of like, we've literally not had the delivery come in
I don't doubt the Xbox copies haven't arrived. I just find it a bit odd given I'm sure they wanted to hit round 1 as well. It just feels, a bit odd to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they had their launch party and like had all the players there. Like it's just a weird one.
Yeah. Brody, do you have any concerns for the quality of the game overall at this stage? Are you excited to play it? Does it still land kind of mid-season and hit just as hard?
Concerns based on this delay? No, not really. Concerns based on it being an AFL game, generally always. Look, it's all budgetary, isn't it? It's not because Big Ant don't care. Like, they want to make a great football game. And granted, this is their first one since AFL Live in 2010, I think. Like, it's been Wicked Witch since then. So I am still keen to pick this up. Like, I haven't played an AFL game since the last one, obviously, which I think was Evolution 2, if I remember right. And that feels ages ago now. So, I'll give it a go.
I would love to kind of gather around on a weekend with some mates and give this a solid play. That would be fun.
Give the horror games a rest and play some sports.
Still playing through RE4 with my mates, keeping the tradition alive all of these years long. James, do I bother throwing to you here? Are you going to be playing AFL 23?
I won't be partaking.
Go the Eagles.
I don't even know. I don't care. I don't
Dockers.
even care enough to say that. No, I don't give enough.
He does not partake.
He's from
Have you ever kind of like spent any time playing a sports game? Are they much your vibe?
Mate, what the fuck? No, I haven't.
Mario Soccer?
Does that count? I played Mario Soccer and
like a tennis game or
no, AFL games. I'm not going to answer any of your questions.
You reviewed Top Spin or something, didn't you?
I did review Top Spin 3 back in the day.
What did you give it?
I had no idea what I was doing. I can't remember. I found my conclusion from a now dead website that I used to write for with Brody.
That review put it into the grave.
No idea why.
They never saw the franchise again.
Why the fuck did I say yes to reviewing Top Spin, honestly? Anyway, to ignore Ewan's question and just to make a random comment.
Cool.
I think AFL, it's interesting because everybody hates them, but everyone buys them every time they release them. So, like, I don't really know what the go is there. But then I was just thinking about it. And, like, how do you translate a game like AFL to a controller? Like, that must
Always
be
the
so
struggle.
hard. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think about that. Like, knowing fuck all about football, I think about that. And I'm like, that's so much more confusing than just, like, NBA, like, pass or shoot. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
That's all NBA is, yeah.
I could pick up an NBA or FIFA game and play it to some degree. But, like, with AFL, there's just, like, those little nuances and shit.
You are correct. It's such
a game played on, like,
there's so
and it's
many players.
Played in 360 degrees, which is, like, not regular
Correct.
for most sports, so...
Yeah.
You're marking, you're kicking, you're handballing. It's just a lot.
That's 3 or 4 buttons. That's way more than basketball.
At least.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know what I want.
He just wants to leave
us.
us with that tantalizing.
I just
think about the
I just
Xbox
want everyone.
delay.
I just think this must be a hard game to make perfectly.
Even harder to
And
print the
especially
Xbox disc
when
on
you have-
time.
when you have
Allegedly.
no fucking money and you can only really sell it in Australia. But anyway, enough of my penetrating insight. Let's
economies
move on
of it.
because everybody's
Yeah.
got the giggles, and I just don't know if it's productive anymore.
Well, James, let me ask you about your review instead. You reviewed
Yes, you
Ghostwire
may.
Tokyo: A Spider's Thread. How was the added content?
Yeah, it's good.
Excellent. Did they map the controls all okay? You felt like there were sufficient buttons involved?
Why are you being rude about that?
That's a
I think
throwback.
What I said. I think
That's a
honestly,
throwback
what
to the
I
last
said-
conversation.
I think what I said before was like a reasonable comment about the nature of AFL.
It really was.
it
I don't know
not?
why we've decided to dig
Like, stop being
into
so
your
rude.
words.
And like you're shit at segueing forward, so don't try to start segueing backwards. It's not a vibe.
I will say I'm not shit at segueing. I've just been shit today. Maybe I am.
You're only as good as your last game.
Anyway, Ghostwire Tokyo. Yes, it's better now. Give it a shot again if you want. If not, it's fine. I genuinely do think though, like it's like same with Deathloop. Like you can't help but think like, why wasn't this here like originally? Like they've added so much to the combat system. There's now like dodging, parrying, like perfect blocking, elemental status effects, which like work with the other elements to kind of just give a little bit more depth to the combat, which I really like.
Yeah.
Which I think is great. Like it's really cool, and they've added extra quests. They've added a new if you're scared of the stuff. It's obviously not as horror-y as say like Evil Within, but if you are somebody who's scared, you can replace all the scary elements with like little Shiba Inu stickers, which is really cute. So you don't get scared of the scary stuff. But yeah, I still think it's a really unique like I want to call it like a Far Cry like because it's very similar to Far Cry structure wise. Just takes place in like a supernatural version of Tokyo instead. And I think that different setting and like the mythological like enemy types and stuff really pulls it over the line for me in terms of making it interesting. Like it's not just another, I guess checklist game as people call them.
Yeah.
But they've added like new enemies. They've added a new mode called the Spider's Thread, which is like you go through 30 floors that they've created. Like you play 30 of them in the match, in the mode, sorry. But they're drawn from 110, I think, different levels that they've been created. They're not just randomly thrown at you, but they've actually been created. So like there's challenge and like good design to each of the levels. And I'm like a sucker for like a good roguelike mode in games. Like I loved Moon Crash for Prey. Obviously I really liked Hades, and this is a very similar kind of thing. I guess Deathloop as a whole is a big roguelike, which I do like now. But yeah, I do think this is definitely like Ghostwire Tokyo as it should have been. I appreciate the efforts to try and make the story more interesting by adding more like expansion to the cutscenes and stuff, but it still doesn't really land for me, unfortunately. But overall, all of the additions and stuff are like perfect, and it's all free. Like I think that's the other thing that like it's on Game Pass first of all, with all of these enhancements. If you bought it on PS5 last year, that update is free for you too, and it's like discounted now to like I don't know, like $30 probably in most retailers. And you still get all of that cool free stuff too. It's definitely worth trying now. I think a lot of people, it just flows better. There's a bit more variety to it all and stuff. I genuinely think it's great. It's a solid improvement in a lot of ways.
Is it out tomorrow?
Yes,
Yeah.
maybe 2 days. It's
or
this
today,
week.
if you're listening to this now.
If you listen to it next week, it was last week. But then I just realized. Anyway, yeah.
How confusing this all is.
Yeah. No, anyway, it's out on I think it's the 13th, but it's definitely the 13th or the 14th.
Of April.
Yes,
In case you're listening to
2023.
2023 to do this again. But yeah, really good. I do recommend it, and I think if you didn't like it before, maybe give it a shot this time again, and it might win you over. But yeah,
But
the new
presumably
enemies
you
are
have to
really
get
cool
through
too.
the main game to kind of get the most out of the DLC, or like can
No,
you...
Spider's Thread is completely separate. So
Okay.
Once you hit Chapter 2 of the main game, you can play Spider's Thread. It has its own skill tree, its own progression system. 'Cause
Okay.
it's all built. It feels like, that's what I'm trying to say. It's not just like tacked on. It's really built like as its own thing.
But any of the new mechanics, they don't carry over into the rest of the game, do they?
Yeah, they do. So so all of the new stuff is in the game, in the main game too. Like all of the elemental affinities, like you can freeze things, burn them. And
God, this sounds like... Sorry, maybe
Yeah.
I just wasn't paying attention as you were describing all of this, but this sounds like they've...
It's fine. Like no
It
one
sounds
does,
like
but
more of
that's
a
okay.
major update than like DLC.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a
Okay.
big free.
And it's
update.
free.
Yeah.
Do you think, not to derail it, James, but do you think that like this and Deathloop launching earlier on PlayStation in the forms that they were in was detrimental to the original releases? Like, do you think
Yes.
having them? Yeah.
question.
Okay.
Only because, like, especially with more so with Ghostwire, just the quality of life changes and the just adding variety to that open world. I think that's really key to making an open world game interesting. And obviously with Ghostwire, it's not a massive open world. It's quite a dense, like, city open world. But just having so much more to do and like changing that up regularly makes it so much more interesting. Deathloop's interesting though, because like I just feel like Deathloop was doomed from the beginning. Like it's so hard to, and not in a bad way. Like it's just such as a concept.
Yeah,
it's so hard to sell.
explain.
And then
Yeah.
for somebody to pick that up and play it and really get into it, you really have to like invest
Yeah.
quite a bit, because it hit that point for me eventually, a year later. But yeah, like I said in my, it's so easy to say now, like a year on, you're like, oh, why wasn't this just the thing? But at the end of the day, I think an extra year just for this stuff probably wouldn't have saved it at the same time. But to answer your question, yes, I think that they probably did shoot themselves in the foot a little bit with both of these games. But they're also, like we say it all the time, but these are also what games where I feel like it's perfect to jump in with Game Pass. Because they are maybe a bit of a hard ask to ask someone to pay $99.95 or $69 retail for. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. I am curious to jump back into this, but there's just so much to play. Speaking of scary games though, I played that mission. I've now finished the storyline in Hogwarts Legacy. Yes, I know it took me a while, but I played
Speaking of
that scary PlayStation exclusive.
What? Right.
Like Ghostwire Tokyo.
Haunted-
It's a
the
scary
haunted
game,
shop.
isn't it?
It's not. Well,
There's horror elements.
Like,
I mean, Hogwarts Legacy, not a scary game either.
Ghostwire scary.
What did you play, Ewan?
I played the PlayStation exclusive mission.
What a great addition.
Have any of you played this mission? It is fucking
Harry Potter, you mean?
horrifying. It's terrifying. You buy this shop and there's a poltergeist in the shop and it fucks with you, and clearly none of you have played this mission, but oh my
can't
god.
see it on the
Like I'll
show
send you
notes.
some clips.
Sorry, I'm a bit lost.
Anyone that's listening to this, like, I'm sure understands my pain. It was terrifying. Anyhow, we do have one more review to get to. And Brody, that is yours. You reviewed Tron Identity, a new game from Bithell Games. How
Yeah.
did you find it?
I'll keep it brief just because I am still wrestling with my inner demons and thoughts on this one. Look, when I think of Tron, I think of, all the exciting things like light cycles and laser discs and all that sort of cool shit. So a visual novel, I think, is a bold choice for this series. But fortunately, like it's one that I think succeeds in what it tries to do as a visual novel. It's the gameplay elements that sort of fall short and don't really achieve anything remarkable. So yeah, Mike Bithell, he's I'm not familiar with too much of his work. I did play John Wick Hex, which was another obviously licensed tie-in that he did, which was sort of like framed John Wick as a puzzle shooter basically. And that was a really interesting take on that series, I guess, and it's it showed it through a new lens, and it actually worked. It made sense, and I think this does the same. Like it frames you as like an investigator in this program world, basically, where a repository, which is like I guess the source of all their data and stuff, comes under attack, and then it's just a big mystery. It's like basically a detective story, and you've got to like go through, meet these handful of characters, and deduce from there who's done what. And you can. It's a game where I feel like actually a lot of the choices you make do matter, and there are going to be a lot of I guess permutations and a lot of different endings that you can see. So, which is good because the game is also very short. Like it's only about 2 hours long. Yeah, so you can blow through it pretty quickly. So look, as a visual novel, like I really can't fault it. Like Bithel's writing is really good. I've thought that for a while with other games of his that I have played. And so I think this one is good for that. It expands the world. It doesn't necessarily... I don't think it elaborates on things that you already know. I think it just more sets itself in the Tron world and it sort of exists on its own. So it's good like that. It's just, the game...
Yeah, it doesn't sound like the right kind of form for a Tron game to take.
Like I said, it does feel like a weird choice. And like the only gameplay hook there is that exists in the whole game is basically like this puzzle mechanic that sees you basically defragging like someone's identity disk because a part of like this... I guess, the catalyst of everything that happens. Like, it's an explosion that basically stuffs everyone's memory. And to help them, like, remember, you basically got to keep continually, like, defragging their identity disk, which is basically just like a card matching mini game where you have to either match the value or match the suit and dwindle the cards down to a target number. And, yeah, it's fine. It's what it is, I guess. It's very basic, it's simple, and even as they throw, like, extra mechanics at you, like, you know... It doesn't really do enough to make it worthwhile. And it certainly doesn't do enough to warrant the existence of like a separate mode that they add. Like there's an endless mode that you can do, and I couldn't think of anything worse. I'd rather not, thank you. So, yeah, all in all, while I haven't landed on a score or anything, like I think it succeeds as a visual novel. I think it does well enough to expand the world of Tron, and it has made me interested to actually go back and watch the movies to a degree because I don't really have a relationship with those. Yeah. But I guess... as a game, like it doesn't really do a lot to separate itself from really anything. So,
okay,
yeah,
not a rave review, but it sounds like if a visual novel is your cup of tea and there's a Venn diagram that overlaps.
If you like Tron and you like
Tron.
visual novels,
Sounds like Tron Identity is lacking identity.
nice.
Can we apply the same level of criticism to James's comedy?
I assumed he was reading your
Maybe
show
get my
notes.
name right, Darl, but
yeah,
That witty comment was as fine as a spider's thread.
well,
Spider's thread continues to spindle. What is a spider?
Spundle?
Weave. It weaves a web.
Wait, yes.
Rapid fire question, Ewan. What is it today?
oh no, I didn't prepare a rapid fire question.
Uh-oh.
Should
I
have
really wanted
been,
to talk about
have you
PS Vita
played
too.
Hogwarts Legacy's scary mission yet?
No.
What did you rate it out of 10? I didn't have a rapid fire question. I'm speechless. I'm underprepared. Did you have one, Shannon? You're usually good at.
Oh
coming
wow!
up with
I
one.
can wait. What is everyone's favorite Resident Evil game? I can't believe there isn't one, Ewan. That's so not like you.
I know.
What about in
Yeah.
light of the Persona 3 remake and Jet Set Radio
Oh my god, no!
reboot?
Stop.
What game do you want remade? I'll go first. I want
Wait,
The Last of Us
no.
Part 1 remade again.
Didn't we have this one recently? I felt like.
Oh, did we?
We had a remake.
I probably wasn't on that episode,
recently.
I'm sorry.
What
Shannon might
about
have said
no?
Jack and
Wait.
Daxter.
Now that
I love how the
Alice
rapid fire
Madness
question has become,
returns.
what is your rapid fire question?
Which picture song is better, Jack Black's or the Presidents of the United States of America?
or what about the Prince one?
Does he have a song about peaches as well?
Wait, yeah,
Multiple
he does,
choice.
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
When
This
Peaches
is, I am
fly.
lost right now. This is all.
Are we going with that one?
Well, think
We'll
of
go
a
with-
question, Ewan. We're
I
vamping
like the
through
Resident
it.
Evil one, to be honest. That's my pick.
No, that's
We already had that. Like James spent 15 minutes talking about his favorite Resident Evil game
I
last
ask you
week.
guys. I ask you guys every week.
Dreams. Dreams is ending
My
live
God.
support. What are your
No, wait,
dreams?
wait, wait, no, wait, wait.
A member of this group.
Wait, I've got one. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
with the unprecedented success of the Super Mario Bros. Movie, what Nintendo franchise would you like to see made into a film next?
It's a good question.
Okay.
Metroid.
Are you sucking up or?
No, I think that's the obvious answer.
Okay, that's the correct answer. Yes.
Yeah.
Super Smash Bros. I feel. Does that count? That counts.
That's like
No,
the
that's
end
cheap.
game.
No,
That's like the
Yeah,
end
you've
game.
got to work
Pick
up
another
to
one.
that. That's like
yeah.
the Avengers.
You're gonna be like
Yeah.
Mario Tennis or something.
Yeah, literally. It'd make for a better story.
Like
than
Mario,
what got
like
served up.
Mario Tennis, but like a kind of gritty, kind of documentary kind of style thing, like Drive to Survive, but Mario Tennis.
I'm just going to be boring and say Zelda. I actually don't think a lot of them would work
That's
as
actually
movies, if I'm
also
being
a good
honest.
Zelda would
But
be good.
continue.
Yeah. Brody, Kieran.
I'm googling a list.
I want like an adult, violent, gritty crime drama starring Wario and Waluigi.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Professor Layton. I guess that's not necessarily
I thought you were gonna say
Nintendo,
something
but
else
that's
too.
good.
You know what
Mine.
mine is? Oh, yeah. You
Oh,
go.
please, James, don't steal
No,
mine.
it was my question. I'll go last. You go.
Okay, mine that I would like to see is, you've got me thinking about gritty things now. So I'd like a gritty, hard-boiled
Mine's gritty
detective
too.
one for like Star Fox.
Ooh.
Get me some Star Fox in there.
No one's watching Star Fox on the big screen.
No one's watching
whatever.
whatever you said.
Hun,
is-
no one's
Sold
playing
out.
Star
This is a
Fox,
great
let
question.
alone watching it.
Literally.
I want
Overrated
a Ridley
franchise.
Scott live-action Metroid film.
It's not even
That'd be-
overrated. It's super
that'd be
like
sick.
it's rated.
And then I like Kieran's idea got me thinking as well. An Ari Aster directed Luigi's Mansion. That would just go
Oh.
like real like messed up horror with
No,
it.
get
That'd
old
be-
mate on it doing a series. Hill House guy. What's his name?
Oh yeah,
my
yeah.
mind escapes me.
Dave
but yes.
Flanagan.
Flanagan?
Like a
Mike Flanagan.
like a monster
Yeah.
of the
Mike
week
Flanagan.
Luigi's Mansion
Yeah.
series.
Yeah, that would
yeah.
be fun. That'd be really fun.
Well,
Super
mine
Mario
is-
Sunshine, but it's White Lotus.
Oh my
What
God.
can Wes Craven direct?
I feel like
Jennifer
Wes
Coolidge's
Anderson
Mario.
film would be good.
So like, I've said this before,
Mamma
I'm gonna say
mia.
it
This is
again.
now the I think the longest rapid fire
Yeah, it is,
question we've
definitely.
ever had.
Well, we had to come up with our own question.
That's the first
James,
step.
go. Hit us.
So like, Desperate Housewives meets Twin Peaks, but it's Animal Crossing.
Oh,
And
that's
Isabel's
good.
been murdered, and like
That actually
there's an
sounds
agent,
like-
they send an agent to the island, and David Lynch directs it.
And it's 40 seconds long, but sells 30 million tickets in 3 days.
Yes.
That
Great,
actually sounds like
continue.
your dream movie, James. I can't
Or like
imagine
True
you being more excited
Detective,
about.
but
We
with
did it.
Animal Crossing.
We did-
We did it.
We did it. Well done. All right.
Now.
Now it's time for What the Wiki, the pressed up podcast game show where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page from an unknown game, and we, the contestants, must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess, and the round ends after a person scores 2 points. Currently in the lead, we have Brody and James tied with 9 points apiece. I'm just behind on 8. Kieran's on 7. Shannon's on 5. And James W. entering the scoring last week. Or like... He appeared, but it's on nil point. James, as last week's winner, you are today's host. Take it away.
Are we doing the point thing or what?
Wait, sorry,
What'd you
what?
say?
Say again?
But
Are
yes.
we doing the bonus point?
You want to do
Are we
the
actually?
bonus point? You want to introduce this new rule such that if
Yeah.
you get 2, you clean sweep it, you get a bonus point?
So because of Kieran, I would like to incorporate
Kieran's face is
Because of
scrunching
me.
up.
because Kieran insinuated that he didn't participate as much, so he didn't win, so he could always participate. So
I
he
thought-
could get more points.
I thought
Oh,
I thought the
that's
reason we were
true.
keeping track of appearances was so that you could like average it out.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
but
what's
I've
the
not
point?
been doing a very good
Nothing is
job
planned.
of that.
Yeah, no.
Then
so,
why write it
Why,
down?
why does
Well,
everything
I've
need a
not
14-minute
really been writing
conversation
it down.
tonight? Let's get it going.
So
I think
anyway,
I
Rapid
might
fire
see
question.
rule-
Do you think we should
What?
have the bonus point
yeah,
or not?
literally.
So the bonus point is if you win the round, you get a bonus point.
What?
Thanks for that clarification.
That
So-
seems
so-
more complicated
No,
than
no, if you
AFL.
clean-
So it's not if you
sweep.
clean sweep. It's only if you win the round.
Oh, do you want to? Oh, no. Okay, no. Should we
No,
clean
clean
sweep
sweep.
then?
Clean sweep,
Yeah,
and you get a
it's if
bonus
you clean
point.
sweep it, I think.
Okay, if you clean
yeah.
sweep. So if you win 2 points, you get a bonus point.
I just want
because
to
we
say, if
wanna
I was legitimately using that strategy, I wouldn't have told everyone.
You did though. Yeah, I don't think you were paying attention.
And now you've
when you
planted
told
the
us.
seed.
This
And
has
go.
just got more confusing.
Game number
Anyway.
1.
All right,
Okay,
it's sanctioned.
let me turn on my notepad. Here we go. My face goes wider, so you know.
Boot it
I'm
up.
looking. Yeah, yeah.
See through.
3 minutes, please.
Casper is here.
Are we? Oh, wow. Thank you. Are we ready?
Yeah.
Soon I'll be translucent. Played from a third-person perspective, the player assumes control of a detective who must save his daughter. There are 3 difficulty modes.
Kieran,
Yes, Kieran.
is it murdered sole suspect?
It's not. Sorry.
Oh,
Wow.
There are 3 difficulty modes, namely Casual, which the producer recommends, Survival, and Nightmare. In the game, the maps are larger, and there are multiple ways for players to advance in a level. The player is also given an item known as the Communicator, which helps to highlight objectives, resources, and enemies featured in the game's world. Players can explore the map freely. Yes, Brody.
Is it The Evil Within 2?
It is Brody. Wow.
Well
Yeah,
done,
damn it.
Well done.
Brody.
lovely.
Had no idea I was...
From your interview, you picked that up.
Yes, Shinji told me that.
Yeah.
Shinji-san.
I wouldn't know. Anyway, moving on. The game. I don't actually know what game this is. Oh, yes, I do. Okay. The game is...
You need to know for us to get it.
Yeah, I know. I scrubbed the
This is
titles.
chaos.
I put... Anyway.
You're allowed to
game
know
is
the titles. Sorry,
No,
keep going.
shut up. The game is divided into stages, each taking place in one of the 10 areas in the main village and organized chronologically in a table. In order to complete a stage, the player must accomplish a primary objective that usually involves reaching an exit point, subduing enemies, or finding an item. Objectives in different stages are interconnected via a butterfly effect, and a character's actions in one stage can trigger a secondary objective in another. There are miscellaneous items scattered throughout the stage. Once obtained, these items are archived in a catalogue and can be viewed at any time. This is going to give it away. The game's player characters possess a psychic power known as sightjacking, which enables them to see and hear what nearby enemies or humans
Shannon.
see and hear.
No, I don't know
Shannon?
what it is. I'm going to say time splitters.
No, it's not.
I don't
Sorry,
know what it
babes.
is.
Side-jacking.
Sightjacking, which enables them to see and hear what any nearby enemy or human sees and hears, and thus pinpoint its position as well as gain knowledge of their activities and their position of obtainable items. Someone's typing. I can't help it.
Sorry. Go.
The clarity of each target depends on distance from the player character, like a radio. Once a point of view is located, it can be assigned to one of the certain buttons of the controller to easily switch between, like a radio. However, the player character is unable to move during the use of the ability. The game is called something and is known as another title outside of America. It's a survival horror stealth game developed by a team within Japan Studio and published by Sony
Shannon.
for the PS2 in 2000. Yep.
Siren.
It is Siren.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Wow.
Is that what
I
all
knew
the typing was?
sidejacking. Yeah.
That's the one I
Googling
thought. That is. Oh, did you actually?
No, it
Because
wasn't.
that's really
Googling it.
disappointing.
No, you know that's one of my
I've
favorite
never
games.
heard of
Blood
this game.
Curse on
I
PS3.
didn't. No, no. You just said Siren. Which is it? Because now I'm going to take your point away.
What do you mean? Like yeah, as in the PS3
Oh, yeah,
version of
right,
the same.
Okay, that's fine. Your point's
Wow.
safe. Don't worry. That's the one I actually
Wow.
thought Kieran would get when I was saying Kieran will get this, but I guess not. It wasn't to be. So I don't actually have a. Oh my god. Okay, 2 seconds.
You needed like 5 games.
I was hoping. That's why I thought if I introduced the bonus point, you would clean sweep.
So
and
you
I would
thought
get
Kieran
another
was
game.
going to clean sweep this? You were trying to set this up for Kieran to clean
I
sweep?
wasn't trying to set it up for Kieran. Leave me alone. Okay, 2 secs.
It sounds
Generator mix,
like there's
baby.
some favoritism going on here. Kieran,
There's
how
no
much did
favoritism.
James pay you to rig this round of What the Wiki?
I don't speak to Kieran
enough.
until like before embargo. So like it's like we don't plan things. Everybody, relax. Okay,
behind the
this
curtain.
one's good. I reckon
Clearly,
we'll
by
get
the way
this.
this podcast is going, we do not plan anything.
Yeah, if you thought we planned stuff, think again.
Yeah.
Okay, everyone ready?
Yes.
The gameplay is similar to that of most first-person shooters, with a strong focus on survival in dangerous natural environments. That is a good one. The human enemies under the leadership of somebody are a main threat to the player, although dinosaurs may often be found wandering throughout the game. The dinosaurs are a neutral force, and if the player chooses, can be used as a tool to attack enemy soldiers.
Brody,
Yes, Brody.
is it Turok?
It is Turok.
No.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Okay.
Is that
Well,
it?
there we
Okay.
go. That's my misery, please.
No
That is
bonus
it.
point.
It is
Shannon,
11
think
about
points.
it.
11 points to Brody. Shannon scuppered the bonus point, yes.
Shannon's the blocker.
I
James
am
a 9. You
of
an
all
8.
good things.
He's bricking up Brody.
Kieran 7. Shannon moving up a point to 6. Jamie Sebley still with nil par. And with that, let's bring it into what was this week's episode of the Press Start podcast. Subscribe to us on Listener or the podcast service of your choice. Visit us at pressstart.com.au and follow us at pressstart.au on the socials. We've been joined today by Kieran.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at HASH_BRAUN.
Brody.
You can follow me on most things at Brody_DG.
James.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter at James, ATJMZ. And I'd like to formally apologise for that round. Quietly.
Don't. I thought it was hilarious. And lastly, Shannon.
You can follow me at shancake_ on Twitter.
I've been your host, Ewan Roxburgh. You can follow me on Twitter at Ewan_Roxburgh. Thanks again for tuning in, and until next time, happy gaming.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Press Start podcast. Now that I'm done, it's time to pick up the controller and get gaming. But not just any controller. It's time to pick up the PowerA Spectra Enhanced Wired controller for the Nintendo Switch. It's available now in-store and online from JB Hi-Fi, and believe me when I say the Spectra Enhanced controller is one of the flashiest you can get for your Switch. Just check out some of these features. LED edge lighting with 8 colors to choose from, a 3.5mm headset jack, a 3-meter detachable USB cable, and a soft touch feel with awesome ergonomic design. With official licensing from Nintendo and a 2-year limited warranty, you know it'll deliver the goods every time you fire up your Nintendo Switch. Illuminate your gameplay these Easter holidays with a Spectra Enhanced wired controller for the Nintendo Switch, available at your local JB Hi-Fi store or online at jbhifi.com.au.